Hi everyone, welcome to the fourth edition of the Virtuzone Academy Q&A. Before we kick off, we will just give everybody a chance to join the webinar today. We can see the numbers are increasing fast, so just give us a minute or two, then we will kick off. All right, while people are joining, let me introduce today's panelists. First of all, again, thank you so much for joining the Virtuzone Academy Q&A today. We'll be discussing everything there is to know about how to start your business in the UAE. We have received lots of questions already from all the participants today, but feel free to post any questions you have throughout the webinar in the chatter on your right-hand side. But we've been joined today by an amazing panel of experts. We have the CEO of Virtuzone, George Hodjage. We have the Director of Domestic Structuring, Paul Bryson, and we have our best company information expert, Gary Thompson, as well on the panel. George, would you like to start out with a quick introduction about yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is George Hodjage, and I'm the CEO of Virtuzone. I'd like to thank everybody for joining today. We hope that it's going to be a very informative session for all of you.
Thank you so much, George. Paul?
Thanks, Christian. Hi, guys. I'm Paul Bryson. I'm the Director of Structuring here at Virtuzone. I've been structuring and restructuring companies in and around the Gulf for the last 10 years, so I feel like I'm pretty well placed and versed to answer any questions you might have on corporate structure in the region.
Thank you, Paul. Gary?
Good evening, all. My name is Gary Thompson. I am a company formation consultant in Virtuzone. I've been here for around 3 years now, and prior to this, I had a UK legal background. I particularly thrive in complex cases and finding out the suitable solutions to complicated and regulated setups in the UAE.
Thank you so much for that. All right, let's kick off. Again, we have received lots of good questions from all the participants today on the Q&A, but again, please feel free to post any questions you have throughout the next hour in the chat on your right-hand side. My name is Christian Peterson, and I am Head of Marketing of Virtuzone, and I will be moderating today's panel. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. George, we got the first question for you. It's from Ambrose. Ambrose would like to know if it's cheaper to set up within a free zone than outside a free zone. I guess in the mainland. Sort of if you look at the overall package you're gonna get.
Well, that's a very good question, Ambrose. It's a question that we get asked all the time. In general, it is cheaper to set up in a free zone. In general, the mainland licenses are a bit more pricey because you have a sponsor, you have the obligation to have a physical office, although we do have workarounds and options for that as well. But in general, to set up in a free zone is going to be cheaper than set up in the mainland. I'm hoping that's your question. If your question is, are things cheaper in general in terms of services, in terms of real estate and such and such? No, then it's the same. The price of services in free zones and the prices of real estate in free zones does not differ from the prices in mainland. Obviously, salaries are the same. For example, as a cost, whether you are based out of a free zone or based out of a mainland, so your costs will be the same there. However, as a license cost, it is generally accepted that it is cheaper to set up in a free zone than to set up in a mainland jurisdiction. And I hope that answers your question.
Could I jump in and add a point on that as well? What we have noticed in the last 2 to 3 years is that, well, typically free zone companies were always cheaper than setting up in the mainland. It was never the case, but that was the common misconception. But what we've seen now is that the cost of setting up in the mainland in both Dubai and Abu Dhabi has come down a little bit, whereas the cost of setting up in the free zones, particularly in Dubai, hasn't changed all that much. And you find that the costs are fairly similar, not miles apart like they used to be, I would say 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago, where it was always a lot more. So it's certainly a much more competitive environment that we live in now.
Thanks so much for that, George and Paul. Paul, the next question is for you, actually. It's from Ambrose as well, who would like to know if he sets up a business in a free zone, would he be able to rent office space in a flexi space in another free zone or in a business center? outside the free zone as well?
Well, the answer to that is no. You're licensed to operate purely within the free zone that you're based, or the free zone in which your license is issued. Typically, what you'll find is that some of the larger business centres in and around Dubai will not rent space. If they're based in the mainland, they won't rent space to free zone companies. But you might find that some of the smaller standalone business centres who perhaps do need the cash or want the business will rent to you. The business centre is not doing anything illegal by doing that, because they're licensed to rent that office space in the mainland, and that's what they're doing. The person that is trading illegally would be you, or operating illegally, because you're operating out of that space. So you're the person that's doing wrong if there was ever an issue. The penalties are not substantial, and often the slap on the wrist is far better than the cost of having to set up, but it's not something that we would generally encourage. So I would say no, you can't do it legally.
Thanks so much for that, Paul. Gary, the next question is from Umar, and is for you. He would like to know, can startup companies with foreign directors or owners access loan facilities from UAE banks and Islamic banks as well?
Regarding loans and credit, generally a company needs to have quite a good trading history. Whether you have foreign directors, local directors, the location of where the directors and the shareholders are from isn't as important as how long the company has been operating. Generally, before credit facilities are available, a company needs to be trading for 1 to 3 years. Once the company has been trading for 1 to 3 years, the banks will consider applications for credit, but it's difficult in the UAE to get bank funding to start a business. But there are a lot of venture capitalists and a lot of investors in the UAE and out with the UAE. So my advice to you would be come up with a good, strong business proposal and get investors, private investors or equity fund investors prior to your setup. And do not rely on banking funding for the first 1 to 3 years in your business plan, because it's not guaranteed. There are also some other options in the UAE, like peer-to-peer lending through providers like Beehive. But again, they will want you to have a sufficient trading history before they will allow you to have funds for security purposes.
Thanks so much for that, Gary. George, the next question is from you. It's from Steve, who would like to know, what's the best running cash business to set up in the UAE right now? I think what he means is what's a good business to set up right now, given sort of the current market conditions here?
Well, that's pretty much the $1 million question. We have a lot of people that are asking themselves that question. Obviously, these are unprecedented times. What we're going through is something that none of us has ever been through. So historically, we did not know what to expect. However, if you use a bit of logic and a bit of rationale, it is obvious that the online businesses right now are the ones that are thriving, given the social distancing, given the remote working, given the fact that we're trying to socialize as little as possible. Obviously, there are many industries that are thriving, and it's all evolving with time. During the height of the crisis, with the lockdowns and all that, grocery deliveries, delivery businesses in general, online delivery businesses were thriving. Oddly enough, a lot of the health and lifestyle fitness stuff that's online is thriving. People are not moving as like they used to do. They're not out exercising. They're not out doing different activities that they used to do. They're more at home. So a lot of those businesses are thriving. Obviously, for those who have families, online learning, any platform that has to do with online learning is currently thriving, given the fact that schools are iffy. Some people have chosen not to send their kids to school. Others have. Other schools have closed, and so on. And finally, just think of what you would do while spending more time at home. Businesses like gaming, for example. Gaming is thriving at the moment. We're seeing a lot of the people who are registered with us who are in gaming that are doing very, very well, that are having record month, whether it's in development or whether it's in trading gaming cards or gaming pay cards or whatever that is. So gaming is another thriving one. So instead of just listening to the exact industries that I gave you. Just try to think with people staying at home and going out less, traveling less, going on less holidays, in need of more entertainment, in need of food, in need of fitness, health, mental health as well, in need of teaching for their children as well. Think of what businesses would actually would actually support that and would actually cater to that. And I think that's the best way to go forward.
And I think from our side, from seeing the types of inquiries that are coming in, something else that's really booming at the moment is the services industry. And when you see people staying at home and they're working from home and spending more time in their home office, they really realise the effect of having a poor AC or a problem with their lights or a problem around the home. So technical services has been one of the most requested services that we've set up recently, in addition to trading.
And if I also just to add just one quick sentence to that, George mentioned that you see online grocery delivery doing well. If you keep up with the business news here in the region, you'll see recently that in the last 2 weeks, InstaShop sold for $360 million to Delivery Hero from India, and it's no coincidence that they've managed to cash in at probably their peak time.
Thanks so much for adding that, Paul. And thanks so much to everyone for posting all your questions in the chatter. There's a lot coming in. It's great to see, and there's one of them I would actually like to bring up already. Gary, I think this is a good one for you. It's Aita that would like to know, in which free zone can a woman sponsor her family?
Thank you for that. That's a common question. Traditionally, it can be difficult for a woman to sponsor her family, but the times are changing and it's becoming more straightforward. In the UAE, there's two immigration systems. There's the immigration system in Dubai and there's the immigration system in Abu Dhabi. Dubai deals with all of Dubai, and Abu Dhabi deals with all other jurisdictions. So Fujairah, Ras Al Khaimah, Abu Dhabi immigration deals with that. Now, Abu Dhabi traditionally is more traditional, and it's more difficult for you to sponsor your children. But now at the moment, if you have an NOC from your husband, you can sponsor in most jurisdictions through Abu Dhabi immigration. In Dubai, to sponsor your children, if you're married, it's very straightforward. Even if you're not married in Dubai, as long as you have the appropriate authorities from the children's father, then it can be done in Dubai with the appropriate documents. So most jurisdictions, you can sponsor your children, but you need someone who's very accustomed to the practices in order to assist you in doing it. And that's what we're here for.
Thanks so much for that, Gary. We've now been going for 15 minutes, so I think it's a good time to run a little poll to really engage everyone on the webinar today. So I'm going to be posting a poll now. You'll see it on your screen, asking, are you looking to start a business now, with 3 different options as an answer: yes, no, or I already own a business. So please pitch in with the answers now. I hope you can all see it. And while all the answers are ticking in, we will jump on to the next question for Paul. Paul Ambrose, who's been very active leading up to the webinar, asking lots of questions or submitting lots of questions, would like to know, if I open a company in a particular free zone, can I do business in other free zones as well?
Well, it's a good question, because typically the question is always, can I do business in the mainland? When you're licensed in a free zone, legally you're only licensed to conduct commercial activity within that free zone. Now, if you're trading in physical goods, it's pretty difficult to then trade them between one free zone and the other without those goods ever coming onto the mainland soil, if you like, without ever being imported. Okay, so that's quite difficult unless you're operating on a drop and ship model, where they're coming from another country and into the free zone through you. Then that would be fine, because that transaction would be classed as taking place abroad. If you offer services, consultancy services, you'll be able to offer that from free zone to free zone for sure, provided that the service takes place over the phone, online, or it happens in the cloud, for example. But you cannot legally go into that free zone, conduct commercial activity, collect your payment, and then go back to your own free zone. You have to, as long as you're invoicing from your free zone bank account and your service takes place online, that won't be an issue. If it's for the sale of goods, you need to operate in a drop and ship model, not trade directly from free zone to free zone.
Thanks a lot for that, Paul. George, sorry, actually Gary, Omar has a question here. He would like to know what's the process to start an application on the Apple Store while in Dubai. So I guess he would like to launch an app-based business and get that listed on the Apple App Store. So what's sort of the process for setting up a business like that?
Yeah, thank you, Christian. That's a very good question from Omar. It's quite relevant to what George was saying earlier. The gaming industry is booming at the moment, and there's no better hub than Dubai to set up your business because it's tax-free. It has access to the Apple Store, the Google Play Store. You can set things up. You can get good developers here. You can use developers abroad. So it's a very good place to set up and run this type of business. For a software development or an application development application development company, there's 3 stages. You need to have the appropriate license, then you need to have an appropriate bank account, and then you need to link that bank account to the App Store. So there's certain jurisdictions that can do this, and there's certain jurisdictions that can't. There's over 50 free zones in the UAE. Not all of them can link up with the App Store, and not all the banks in the UAE can link up with the App Store. So if you speak with us and you tell us your requirements, we can let you know the specific free zones that would be suitable, the specific banks that would be suitable, and we can offer a full turnkey solution from start to finish to assist you in getting your developed app on the App Store and generating revenue.
Thanks so much for that, Gary. Omar, I hope that answers your question. Before we jump on to the next question, I'm gonna end the poll that we started a few minutes ago. We were asking, are you looking to start a business now? And 68% of everyone who answered the poll are looking to start a business. So I would like to bring your attention to one of the promotions that we're currently running. I hope you can see it on your screen now. It's the Dubai Dream License that at a very affordable rate enables you to set up a business in a free zone in Dubai on board the QE2 ship in Port Rashid. So a very unique location at a very affordable price point. There's a link to our website as well where you can get more information. And I think we'll be touching a little bit on it as well later on the webinar today. So George, I'm going to jump on to the next question from Ahmed. He's asking, that's actually his question is about one of our other promotions that we're running at the moment. He's asking, he's seen that we're running a promotion where Virtuzone will beat any equivalent offer on company setup. So can you tell Ahmed a little bit more about that, what that entails? So I think we lost George's sound for a moment. We'll get back to that question in a little bit while we get that fixed. So Gary, why don't we jump on to a question from Reshma? She's telling us that she's an Indian expat living in Abu Dhabi. She has completed a course on how to become a virtual assistant. But after purchasing the course, she now realizes that she also has to get licensed properly to operate a legal business in the UAE. So what type of license will she need in order to be able to work remotely as a virtual assistant, and how much will it cost?
Thank you for the question, Reshma, and it's good to hear your entrepreneurial spirit, taking a course that's going to assist you in generating revenue and starting your own business. So touching on what Paul said, if you are providing services remotely, you can provide those services from a free zone. So you could set your company up in any free zone, or you could set your company up on the mainland. You don't have to have a mainland license unless in the future you're going to expand and offer physical services or offer perhaps employees who will physically be based at offices. So for your type of for your type of business, you can set up in any free zone. A good option would be the Ras Al Khaimah Businesswomen's Package. It's designed for ideas exactly like this. It lets you set up your license from 8,400 dirhams. And if you need a visa, we can also add a visa onto that as well. But with free zones, there's so many different options. They range from very low cost to very high cost, depending on location. But for this type of business, you can get up and running from around 8,000 dirhams. So it's very, very cost effective. And then in the future, as you grow, you can add employees, or you may wish to expand and grow the business. So we can help you now, and we can help you when the business expands.
Thank you for that, Gary. George, are you with us again?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's jump back to the question that Ahmed had before. He would like to know more about our existing promotion, where Virtuzone is stating that we will beat any equivalent offer on company setup. He would like to know what does that offer entails.
All right, so basically us being the oldest in the market and being around for so long, we are always looking to innovate, looking to come up with new ideas to better serve our clients, to get more market share, to make sure that we get as many people as possible setting up with us. And we realized, especially lately, where it was difficult times for everyone, that every time we came up with a promotion or we tried to innovate, the promotion was simply copied by somebody else after a day or two, knocking some sort of trivial figure off the price. So what we decided to do is, we're always trying to innovate, to give the best possible service and price for our clients. So we might as well just put it out there and say that, we will beat any offer you get from out there. Nobody does the volumes that we do. Nobody can buy as well as we can. We deal with all the 51 free zones that are available with all the jurisdictions. We have our contacts and our networks in all these jurisdictions, and we're simply able to offer the best price. So rather than every time coming out with an offer or trying to think what are people looking for and so on, we continue to do that. But at the same time, we also promise that we will beat any equivalent offer that you might find out there. Often what happens is that people come to us with an offer, and they realize that the actual offer they got is not the actual bottom line price that they're going to be paying. So we show them what the actual real cost is, and then we try to beat even that cost in order to get them on board and to retain them. So the beat any offer is basically a new philosophy that we have, and that we're going to keep going for the foreseeable future. We really feel that we are the strongest in the market. We have been here the longest, and we are really committed to continue to grow this business, to build this business in partnership with all our clients. We're really committed to offering our clients the best price, the best service, the best of everything that we can offer, really. And that's where this campaign comes from. And very little companies in any industry are confident enough to be able to say, we're going to beat any offer that's out there. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're putting our money where our mouth is. So I hope that answers your question.
Thanks for that, George. So Ahmed, give us a call or go to vz.ae and get in touch with us. And we'll gladly help set up your business. All right, there's lots of questions coming in from the audience. So let's dive in and answer one of them. Paul, this is a good one for you. It's Jeffrey who would like to know which free zone has the best distribution network. I aim to set up an import business in a free zone and use a company such as Aramex for B2B delivery. Do you recommend Jebel Ali, Abu Dhabi, or some other free zone for this? Oh, we lost Paul's sound.
We hear now?
We hear now, Paul. We hear now.
You can hear me?
Yeah, just speak up.
Okay, perfect. I heard the question. That's a good one. Jebel Ali is the obvious choice when you're looking at logistics and distribution. Don't count out Dubai South or Dubai World Central, as it was known, either, because that obviously has the Dubai Logistics Corridor, which runs between Jafsa and Dubai South. and that's an option where you can be based in Dubai South for that as well. It doesn't really matter which free zone you're based in. It depends really on if your products are going to be shipped from that free zone, or again, as I touched on before, if you're going to be on that drop and ship model. So there's 52 options, right, for free zones. You can discard the majority of them. When it comes to shipping, logistics, and distribution, there's probably around 6 or 7 that are relevant. And don't discount Dubai Airport free zone in that either. That's a logistics hub also. So it's something that we'd be willing to take offline. It's a discussion which could last an hour or two. So if you want to reach out, Jeffrey, for sure we can give you a bit more on that.
Thanks much for that, Paul. George, Amit, you get all the questions about the promotions today. I briefly touched on the Dubai Dream License before, but Amit, he would like to know, what is the Dubai Dream License all about? So can you explain in more detail?
Well, the Dubai Dream License is quite interesting. We've partnered up with Kick Lab, which basically has a free zone on the Queen Mary ship. So basically, it is a free zone based on a ship. It's quite original. It's quite different. It is Queen Elizabeth, not Queen Mary. I said on the Queen Mary, on the Queen Elizabeth II ship, which is obviously an iconic ship. So it's something that's very cool, very interesting, very kind of artsy, and so it's considered a Dubai free zone. Dubai free zones have generally been more expensive than free zones from the other Emirates. However, this particular free zone, being forward thinking and kind of trying to get into the niche of the uniqueness, has partnered up with us to offer a license, a Dubai free zone license, at a very, very competitive rate. And obviously, we've it being on the Queen Elizabeth, it kind of makes you dream of ships and voyages and stuff like that. So we've dubbed it the Dubai Dream License because it allows you to basically fulfill your dreams of starting your own business, and your license being based from a dream ship if you want. So that's what it's about. It's a fully fledged free zone where you can have your license, you can have your visas, Dubai visas, with all the services that come with the free zone, at a very, very competitive price. So that's why we've called it the Dubai Dream License.
Thanks so much for that, George. And Amit, if you haven't been there yet, I highly encourage you to visit the QE2. It's an absolutely amazing place for dinner as well. So go and pay it a visit. Gary, I want to give you a question from the audience as well. Again, there's lots of good questions ticking in, but this one is from Sumudu, who would like to know what are the implications, if any, of having a foreign partner / shareholder in setting up a business?
Okay, having a foreign partner generally is fine. The partner can be based abroad, but there is some practical issues. For some jurisdictions, the foreign partner will have to come here to sign documentation and to set the company up. For some jurisdictions, you can send a power of attorney in advance, which needs to go through the legal attestation process. For other jurisdictions, it can all be done completely remotely. Once you set the company up, if the foreign shareholder is the sole shareholder, some banks insist that the foreign shareholder visits personally to open the bank account. Others accept a manager who's on the ground setting the company up. So my advice would be, don't be put off in having a foreign shareholder, someone who's willing to invest in a business. Don't be put off coming to Dubai because you don't want to travel here too often. Everything can be managed if planned well in advance, and we can help you through the whole process in order to do that. And Aita, I think, also asked a relevant question about this and said, is a business license valid if the owner no longer has a visa? And the answer to that is yes. It's not mandatory in most jurisdictions for the shareholder to have a visa for the company still to be valid. So the company can keep running without the visa.
Thanks so much for that, Gary. George, there's another question from the audience here. It's Aita, who's very engaged, and that's great to see. So thanks so much for that. Aita is asking if we have installment plans for the different licenses that we are selling.
Yes, absolutely. We provide installment plans and custom payment plans for all the licenses that we sell. We also recently tied up with Emirates MBD and First FAB Bank, to provide interest-free installments. You can divide any payment you have with us into 12 installments without any interest. And if you're paying cash, then or by checks, then we have custom. We try to customize installment plans for all our clients. We do understand that these are tough times. We do understand that often people put all their savings into starting their business. And again, we want to help as many people as possible to start their dream or to fulfill their dreams and start their companies. So absolutely, we do have installment plans and payment plans for all our licenses.
And while we are at the licenses, promotions, and installment questions, I want to take a question here from Sally in the audience. And George, this one is for you. Sally's asking for the Dubai Dream license. Can this be used for online businesses as well?
Absolutely. The Dubai Dream license can be used for all types of activities. Gary, perhaps you want to elaborate on that. But absolutely, any activity you have can be set up using the Dubai Dream license.
Yes, that's right. The Dubai Dream license is a free zone that is based almost exactly on the mainland activities that are available across Dubai. So most activities that you would like to operate for your business can be done with the Dubai Dream license. So if you let us know what your activities are, we can guide you on the most appropriate activities, and we can assist you in setting that up. The Dubai Dream license is a very smooth, easy, and straightforward process. It's aimed to make it as easy as possible for you to set up a company in Dubai as cost effectively as possible.
Thanks for that, Gary and George. Paul, the next question is from you, and it was submitted by Tewatros, who would like to know, so basically I used to have a free zone license, which expired in 2015. I didn't close it properly because of some personal issue that didn't let me do so then. Now I want to open a new company. And what would be the implication of my old expired license on getting a new one?
Yeah. Okay. So that can be an issue, and often it cannot. That really depends on which free zone or which jurisdiction your previous license was in. For sure, you're going to have difficulty establishing a free zone company inside that same jurisdiction. If you're setting up in another jurisdiction, typically they don't share information in relation to a company being in good standing. So I would hazard a guess that you're almost 99% fine to be setting up in another jurisdiction. If that company was in the mainland and the license expired or you didn't renew it and you've got some outstanding fines there, you could have some difficulty entering and exiting the country, and you could have some difficulty setting up companies in free zones because the DED will share that information. But free zone to free zone, that's not the case.
Thanks for that, Paul. George, I want to give you another question from the audience. It's Jeffrey again, who is asking, is Virtuzone partnered with any distribution firms? Oh, we lost the sound, unfortunately.
I think we've lost the sound. I don't mind. Yeah.
I'm here. So I said it was an interesting question. We are partnered up with many logistics firms, not specifically distribution. We have, for example, one of our partners is Time Express. It's a logistics firms that does delivery all over the UAE and the GCC and even worldwide at prices that would be 25 to 40% cheaper than if you were to use UPS or FedEx or Aramex or these types of companies. So yes, we do have partners. We have a multitude of partners, over 50 partners now that do all kinds of support services for our clients. And yes, a logistics firm, we have a few. One of them is the one I mentioned, and you get very, very competitive pricing from them.
Thanks for that, George. Gary, there's a question here from Mohammed, a very specific question. Mohammed is saying, I'm a practicing chartered accountant with 33 years post-qualification experience, including 22 years in public accounting practice. I'm a Bangladeshi heading our accounting firm here in Dhaka. It's my long desire to try and set up a small practice in the UAE and Muscat. In what route of investment and in what type of business venture can I set up a practice there? And am I allowed to do so as a Bangladeshi passport holder?
Thank you for that, Mohammed. In the UAE, there are certain nationalities that are high risk and certain nationalities that are restricted for certain aspects of services. For example, a Bangladeshi national at the moment, unfortunately, cannot obtain a new employee visa. However, a Bangladeshi investor can invest in a Dubai company, for example, and can obtain an investor visa. So with your experience, you may wish to set up an accounting firm, and you can set up an accounting firm, you can be the shareholder, you can obtain an investor visa, and there's absolutely no issue with you doing that. If you wish to open a different type of venture, a different type of company, if it's a Dubai mainland company, then it's very, very flexible. You're not restricted, provided that you are the investor. There's only problems if you're going to be employed by another company.
Thanks for that, Gary. Paul, I want to give you a question from the audience here. It's Mustafa who's asking, what are the advantages of registering an e-commerce company in a costly free zone than others? I mean, such as the DMCC or the SIFE zone.
Well, I don't fully understand the question, Christian. What are the advantages of registering in a costly free zone?
Yeah, so he's like, what's the difference if I set up an e-commerce company in an expensive free zone, like DMCC in this case, according to Mustafa, or if you set it up in a cheaper free zone, or in a more affordable free zone?
Okay.
Are there any difference?
Yeah, of course, there can be quite a lot of differences. Let's say DMCC is probably out with the DIFC in Dubai and Jebel Ali free zone. DMCC is the premier free zone. One of the top 3 free zones in Dubai for sure. It's got more companies than any other, so it's got over 17,000 companies in DMCC now. So, that's a lot of potential customers within that particular free zone. The legislation around the company setup in DMCC is pretty sophisticated. It's advanced. It's very easy to deal with DMCC because it's all done online and not traditional paperwork. So there's a difference there. It's also very easy to open a bank account with the DMCC company because DMCC have quite a strict onboarding process for clients in the setup of companies. So they do go through, they pretty much tick the boxes from a central bank onboarding standpoint here and a FATF standpoint. That's the Financial Action Task Force. So they do have best practice there. Other free zones might not necessarily have that. So it can become more difficult to open a bank account. As they might not be as credible. But there has to be some give and take with each free zone. So each one will have a benefit that the others don't, and it will also have a drawback that the others don't as well. And it really depends on how you're going to operate your business. But that's the type of question that you probably can't answer fully in 30 or 60 seconds. You should come and have a consultation with us, and that's something that we can sit down and really kind of iron out the best plan for you moving forward.
Thanks for that, Paul. Mustafa, feel free to reach out to us subsequently. Our phone and live chat on our website is open 24/7 every day of the year. So anytime, please drop us a message, and we are happy to take this conversation forward. Gary, there's a question here from Mao, who would like to know: can we offer consulting services in the UAE, GCC, and Europe with a UAE license? And does the price vary according to the geography that we cover?
In terms of price, it doesn't vary, no. With a free zone company, you can offer services from within the free zone or anywhere outside the UAE, including the GCC, Europe, worldwide. From a mainland company, you can offer services within the Emirate. So if it's Dubai, you can offer it within Dubai and anywhere outside the UAE. But what Paul touched on earlier is if you have a consultant company and you're offering the services remotely, via telephone, via email, via webinar, via Zoom call, etc. You can do that anywhere in Dubai, anywhere in GCC, anywhere in the world. If you're doing something that's physical, for example, if you're an engineering consultant and you are going to be on site and you're going to be providing consultancy services on site, then that should be done from a mainland company. So with a mainland company, it's the Emirate and out with the UAE. With a free zone company, you can do it anywhere if it's remote.
Thanks for that, Gary. We've now been running for a little over 40 minutes, so I think it's a good time to do our second poll for today. So I would like to know from everyone in the audience, do you feel more confident about starting a business now than 6 months ago? Feel free to chip in with your answers. I know a lot of you out there are looking to start a business based on the latest poll that we published. So yeah, do please let us know your answers to this question. And I think as a good segue here, George, Jeff is asking if we expect to see more subsidies for SMEs from the government going forward. I know there's already been quite a few, but what's your thoughts on that?
Well, that's a good question, a very difficult question to answer. What we do know is that historically, the leadership in Dubai and the leadership in the Emirates tends to react very positively and swiftly when there are economic challenges. If we look at the crisis in 2008, for example, at the mortgage crisis and all these things, Dubai and the Emirates in general bounced back pretty quickly, and I would say came back to levels of pre-2008. Dubai has been built on an economy of build it and they will come. We're not about to see that disappear. I think that the authorities here have the full intention of supporting the business environment and ecosystem throughout this storm. I would not be surprised at all that we see more and more involvement and more support to the business community. I'm very confident that the economy here will bounce back. We're already seeing big signs of improvement and big signs and promising signs for the near, medium, and long future. So to answer your question, will there be more subsidies or more support or more things put into place? I think that to do big announcements, is something that's become quite common in this country and in the city, and I wouldn't be surprised to see some big steps towards helping the business community and helping the economy get back on track as quickly as possible. Don't forget we have Expo coming up next year, hopefully, or inshallah, as we say. So all these things combined are definitely gonna at least encourage the government to see the positive signs that are coming and fully support the economy here. In terms of what specifically, I cannot tell you. Obviously, if I knew, I would obviously publish it and try to give people this positivity. But I definitely am sure that there will be more and more measures that will be helping the business community and the business ecosystem in general.
Thanks for that, George. And I would like to add to that in order to support SMEs and new startups, we just this week have launched a new accelerator program with our partner MindCloud Tribe. You can find all the information on our website, vz.ae. You will see a banner on the homepage. But basically, we have opened up for applications now for 10 different startups that can join this accelerator program. The window for applications is open up until the end of the year. If you participate or if you get shortlisted and selected for the accelerator, you will get the chance to win a free trade license as well as up to $25,000 in cash. There's a few requirements that you need to meet in order to be to participate in the accelerator. For example, you need a new business idea that haven't been funded before, as well as a few other requirements. So do go to vset.ae and learn more about this program. I really encourage you all who are looking to start a business to participate in it. Paul, there's a question here from Olusola, who would like to know, in the face of the current pandemic, what modalities are put in place to ease starting and running a business in the UAE for foreign nationalities? I think you need to unmute yourself, Paul.
Okay, how's that now?
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect, good. Thanks for the question. I think you'll know by looking at the news here, if you do keep up with it, that the government, and George touched on it, the government, not only in Dubai, but the leadership in general for the country, have been very active and very proactive, rather, in releasing a lot of different stimulus options, to really just stimulate the economy and to make it easier to do business. And the UAE does take pride in the ease of doing business here. I would think that before the pandemic, you would find that a lot of expats for most jurisdictions had to be here at some point to set the company up, to sign the documents in front of the registrar of that jurisdiction. And now what you'll see is that it's becoming easier to set the company up remotely. A lot of things can be done digitally. When you would have found that there was a lot of barriers to that, when you might have had suggested to people in the past that let's do this digitally, we can do more, you'll find that they like to stick with the traditional models. But now that the hand has been forced, we can see that it is much easier to do business remotely, just like we are right now. Instead of renting a room in a ballroom, or rather in a hotel, and having this event, we're doing it online. So I think the government have made, the free zones in general have made it cheaper to do business. There's a lot of competition, healthy competition between jurisdictions here to set companies up. So you'll find that it's cheaper to set up a business, and it's easier because you can set the business up digitally and without ever having been to the country now. You need to be in the country to obtain your visa, but you don't need to be here to set the company up.
Thanks for that, Paul. Gary, are you? Yep, you're there. Great. There's a question from John. I know we earlier today touched a little bit on the drop shipping business sort of sector, but John would like to know, basically he's looking to start a drop shipping business. He's based here in the UAE. He's going to ship products from China to the US, which he will source on AliExpress. What license is best for that? He is planning to only target the US for now.
For this type of license, the correct description of dropshipping would be a commercial agent. It's not really a trading license, because when you're doing dropshipping, you're not buying a product and then selling the product. What you're doing is you're connecting a seller, A, with a customer, B, and you're earning a commission or you're adding a markup to the product. You're never taking physical possession, or you're never being in control of the goods. So the correct activity is commercial agent. Some people will call it commercial broker. So for that type of license, because John is doing nothing in the UAE, it can be in any jurisdiction. He can set it up in a free zone. He can open a bank account with the free zone, and he can run the license. His options are completely open. He's not restricted at all with this business model.
Thanks for that, Gary. And now I think it's time to look at our last poll we ran. We were asking, do you feel more confident about starting a business now than 6 months ago? So at the sort of the outbreak of COVID, 54% of all, and I'll just end the poll so everyone can see the answers. So 54% of all the participants today on the webinar says yes, we do feel more confident about starting a business now. 36% says no, and 9% doesn't. So I think overall, at least among us today, we see a bit of a positive sentiment here, which is great. George, I want to get another question from the audience here for you. It's Elise who's asking, is it better to start a business with an incubator rather than directly setting up a business?
Bonjour, Elise. No, actually, it's very different to set up with an incubator and to set up with a company formation specialist like ourselves. When you're setting up with an incubator, you're looking for a 360-degree kind of support system, and most importantly, I would say a financial support system. The model of most incubators is that they will take a part of equity into your business. They will handpick or choose a few businesses that they think are promising, in general, in a certain field. Some incubators, for example, will choose technology, others will choose services and so on, apps and so on and so on. And they will take equity into your business versus giving you the support and the guidance on how to grow your business. We are a different type of service providers. We actually set up all your legal framework. And after we've done your legal framework, we provide you with additional services that you need to run your business. We are not advisors, or we are not consultants. We are not, if you want, business advisors. We're not going to get involved in your business and tell you what you should be doing, or the way you should be running it, or fundraising, or in which direction you should be going. What we is a provider of services that you need to run your business. But the decisions and the plan on how you run the business lies entirely in your hands. Whereas in an incubator setup, basically the incubator takes equity in your business, or whatever the partnership is, and is there to basically guide you on how to grow your business, obviously, versus either a payment or an equity part in your business. But incubators are very niche in that sense that they will choose one particular niche industry and focus on that. They will refuse a lot of people. I mean, we do thousands of companies. We set up thousands of companies a year. An incubator might do 20, 30, 40, or 50, because he needs to be focused on how to grow these companies and how to help them grow and how to grow his share in those businesses. So there's a big difference between an incubator, which, again, to summarize, will take equity in your business and guide you in developing your business, sometimes with success, sometimes without success, and us as a corporate service provider, who basically provide you with the service of setting you up and giving you the peripheral services that you need to actually run your business. But that business is entirely run by yourself. So I hope it answers your question.
Can I add a little bit onto that as well, please?
Sure.
Christian and George.
Yeah, of course.
There are quite a lot of incubators around Dubai. Now, incubator by definition, you should only be in there for a short period of time until you are healthy to operate on your own. Okay. There are a lot of incubators which aren't quite operating within what we would class as the legal framework. You want to have some, if you are going to take a space within an incubator, make sure it is within a government approved incubator and not a self set up, I'm operating as an incubator. George did touch on that they will look for equity in the business. So you need to do your research on the ground here. If the incubator is going to allow you to use their office space, give you a legal license, because there are some that are operating licenses illegally. If they're going to give you a legal commercial presence, that's great. It might be that soft landing that you need to get your foot in the door in Dubai. But then you have to ask yourself, how do I get out of this incubator? How do I operate on my own? Are they going to allow me to do that? Are there ridiculous fees to exit? So you need to do your research on the ground. We know quite a few incubators in town quite well. We work with them. By all means, come and see us. We can look at the pros and cons of, do you actually need the incubator, or are you ready to do this on your own? In theory, the incubator should cost less than setting up on your own, but that is not generally always the case.
Thanks for that, Paul. Earlier today, we discussed our offer, stating that we will beat any equivalent offer on company setup. If you go to the offers or the promotion section on your screen now, you will see a link to the beat any equivalent offer page on our website. So if you would like to learn more about it, please go and read more and fill out the form and get in touch with us. We'll be happy to really discuss it in detail with you. Paul, there's another question here for you. Mohammed, he would like to know, do you provide service to set up ventures in Oman?
Yeah, thanks for that, Mohammed. Yeah, for sure, that's something that we can help you with. we work closely, not only inside the UAE, but in the Gulf in general. We can service any country. So if you want to come and see us, we can help you with your market entry into Oman, whether you want to kind of stagger the entry in and operate from the UAE, or whether you want to be licensed on the ground there with a commercial presence, ready to do business. And they have free zone and mainland options in Oman as well. So it's not as complex as the UAE, but it is something that we can help you with. So feel free to reach out to us for more details on that.
Thanks, Paul. So we have around 4 minutes left. So I want to grab a few more questions from the audience just here before closing time. Gary, we got a question at the beginning of the webinar from Jerome, who is currently exploring the options of importing food products to the UAE and selling them predominantly via social media. What licenses would he need? He's importing from the UK and selling in Abu Dhabi.
Thank you for that, Jerome. In order to import products, you need to have a trading license. And once you set up the trading license, you need to have an import code. The product that you're importing needs to be registered. So if it's something that's been imported before, then you can use the import code. If it's something that hasn't been imported before, then you have to register it with the appropriate authorities. Generally, when it comes to food products, you would be expected to have a mainland company. In some limited circumstances, you can use a free zone company. But if you want to import and you want to sell directly to the consumer via social media, then it's likely that a mainland company would be most appropriate. Alternatively, you could set up a free zone company and use a distributor. Later, as your business grows, if you have demand for your product and you want to sell, for example, to the supermarkets like Carrefour or Spinneys, then those types of companies generally would expect to deal with a mainland entity. So the options are available, but for this type of company, contrary to most inquiries tonight, this type of company would be best dealt with in a mainland company, which needs a local partner, which we can assist you with.
Thanks for that, Gary. George, there's a question here from Sumudu again, who's also been quite active today on the chatter. Sumudu would like to know that if a company is set up with Virtuzone, do we continue to support after the company is set up? Will a new client be giving a dedicated account manager, for example?
Well, like I said, we try to create an ecosystem for every single client we have to support them with their business long term. We now have signed up over 50 partners. As you could imagine, people are knocking on our doors every day to offer their services to the 4,000 or 5,000 companies that we have under management on any single day. So a lot of these people have come to us trying to partner with us to offer their services to our clients. And we are very picky and choosy in which services we retain, which companies we work with. And we have now over 50 partners that have gone through the due diligence with us that we think are their services is of high enough standard for it to be associated with Virtuzone clients. And if you go on our website, you can see all these partners that can help you with your business and the growth of your business. And we provide, if you're not talking from a business perspective, from a legal perspective, then yes, we continue to do your visas, we continue to do your amendments, we continue to do your permits if you need it, we continue to do all these things throughout the lifetime of your business. So we have a department that actually takes care of business partnerships, which are extra services that you will need to run your business. And then we have our relationship management team who continues to support you with all your corporate services needs and all your legal documentation needs and so on and so forth.
Thanks for that, George. And we are almost running out of time, but Paul, I would like to give you one last question before we close today. This is from Irina. She's asking, once a company is established in the free zone, does Virtuzone offer a service in order to find business partners in the mainland?
Well, that's a good question. It's definitely something that we would help you with at the initial incorporation stage. So when we're sitting down consulting with you figuring out what your plan is and who's your target market, then I think we would have probably set you up in the mainland if most of your customers or your business is going to take place there. But it is something that you can continue to follow up with us on. We do want you to be successful. We do want the business to do well. And we want the partnership to grow and flourish. So long and short, yes, it is something that we can help you with. We do have a partnerships department, as George touched on, but it is something that at your initial setup, you can raise that with your consultant, and they'll ask the right questions to find out where your target market is, and then we'll position you in a way that you're established to go and attack that target market.
Thanks much for that, Paul. And with those words, we have now hit our 1 hour for today's Q&A. I would like again to thank everyone who signed up, everyone who joined, everyone who asked, all the questions throughout the Q&A today. Thanks so much for participating. I would like to again highlight that we are running 2 promotions at the moment that we have discussed today. We are running the Dubai Dream License, where you can set up your business in a Dubai free zone on board the GUE2 in Port Rashid at a very affordable price. We are also running our Beat Any Equivalent offer at the moment until September. So if you have received an offer on company setup from another company service provider in the UAE or in Dubai, do please come and share it with us, and we will help you get something better. So again, thanks so much to everyone who's joining today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much to our panel of experts, George, Paul, and Gary. Thanks for sharing all your insights today. Once again, thanks so much to everyone, and we will see you again at the next Q&A in a couple of weeks.
Christian, before you close, can I ask you? There is quite a few questions that we didn't get round to answering. Is there any way that we can capture these details and get back to people by email?
Yes. So we will capture everyone's details today, as well as the question asked on the chatter. So we did get quite a few questions, and we weren't able to get around to all of them, unfortunately, but we will be able to reach out to everyone afterwards. So don't worry. We will get back to you with answers to all your questions.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Thanks again, everyone. And we'll see you on the next Q&A.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.